welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. Hey, I hope you're doing well out there. I really, really do. What a crazy time it has been. And today, well, let's just say more things happening primarily on the tariff front. We have another massive sell-off going on Wall Street. You shouldn't be surprised. I've been telling you. Get more diversified, please. You have no idea of what is coming. You should. We understand how this works. The boom and bust cycles. Remember, go back to what I was saying all last year. I know it made some of you mad, but you know what? Sometimes the truth hurts. Remember when I told you it didn't matter, Trump or Harris? And I said, listen, it may matter on the border, which it has. Tariffs, which it has. Hopefully, the war in Ukraine, they're supposed to start some talks today. But overall, it wasn't going to matter because there was no good choices. We were on a sugar high. We've been on a sugar high. We go back to the financial crisis. I keep trying to tell you, they did not fix it. Do you not get it? They didn't fix it. Right? I use the analogy, the Big Daddy analogy. If you ever saw that Adam Sandler movie, I don't know. I like it. It was a cute movie. The kid wets the bed. Let's just put some newspaper over it. The kid spills the milk. We'll put some newspaper over it. The kid throws up. Let's put some newspaper. Let's just cover it up. Let's pretend like it didn't happen. Oh, but it happened. And then they embarked on the most idiotic central bank policy of all time, especially when we were the reserve currency of the world. Brought interest rates to zero, left them there for 15 years, and tried to convince you guys that it was free. Remember, Janet, go big, she said. Yes, go big. What did she mean, go big? What she meant was let's just keep spending. Remember, the Federal Reserve. This is why we got to get rid of them. Do you know that they went to the Supreme Court to prevent us from knowing how much money they really created during the financial crisis? We knew the headlines. $5 trillion. And look at we took our balance sheet from $700 billion to $5 trillion, $4 trillion now, and then it went to $9 trillion. Oh, no, it was so much more than that. And then right when the bond market was getting ready to capitulate and drag this all out, COVID came along. And man, we got to spend even more money. And we've been on that sugar high. Well, guess what? The sugar ran out. Right? Who was it? Scott Bassett talking about, we need to detox. We got to detox. The president telling you, don't look at Wall Street, right? Well, I get it. He's right. Don't look at it. Priced to perfection when we have no perfection. Let's see, just today, after the break, listen, we're going to get into the big news going on with Canada and the United States right now that all of you, I'll make you aware of in a minute. But we had earnings from Oracle, Larry Ellison. He's the quiet rich man. right? You got Bezos and Zuckerberg and Musk, right? Bill Gates, Buffett. Not many people talk about Larry Ellison, but yeah, he's one of those guys. Oracle missed on earnings. Then we had, who was it? Let's see. First it was Delta. Delta comes out and says, oh my Lord, I don't know what's happened, but people have stopped flying. And then Southwest Airlines had to come out and say, hey, you know what? We're going to start charging for luggage, right? We're going to change all of these things. And then we heard from Kohl's. Boy, that was ugly. Ugly. Kohl's is now saying same-store sales are going to fall 5 to 7%. Dick's Sporting Goods, same thing. They said, oh, man, we don't know what happened. Everything was great. We're expecting profits to be lower than Wall Street expectations in 2025 was the big word out of Dick's. So after yesterday's big sell-off, it was like, okay, we're not probably going to get a big rally, but maybe, even though we have this bad news, maybe we can, bottom feed here a little bit. Donald Trump had to go out and say, I'm buying a Tesla. Please, everyone go buy a Tesla. Tesla stock down, 54%. NVIDIA down 30%. Listen, the bad stuff hasn't happened yet. I'm just telling you. Get yourself diversified here. Call us 800-951-0592. Talk about Canada next. 800-951-0592. The Dow was down another 400 points. Was down 900 points yesterday. 41,500. The S&P down another 22 points, below 5,600. The NASDAQ, brutal day on the NASDAQ yesterday. Right now, it just went into positive territory, but again, a lot of bottom feeding going on in the NASDAQ. The 10-year note rising as a big fight now. The tariff wars have heated up. The new Prime Minister, Carney, he was out with his first speech and talking about Canada's going to win and all of this stuff. And, oh, boy, let's just say things have gotten extremely uncomfortable. Oil's higher. Gold, this point, we keep telling you where to be. Gold's up 30. No shock. Get more diversified. By the way, gold 29.20. It just literally just sitting there laughing, waiting for the next big leg up. How about silver? Here it comes. Up almost 75 cents here. Bumping back up on that $33 level. Wisen up here. Do what you know you need to do. Listen, is what Trump is doing, is it wrong or right? I don't know. I don't think it's going to work as well as a lot of people want it to, me included. Why? Because they screwed us. Don't you get it? Do you know that they passed in the House this continuing resolution, so we will have no budget this year. Got to pass the Senate. Passed by a whopping 2 votes. Because Trump says, guys, I need time. Time for what? Well, time for what he means by timing, bad things are going to come. I get it. Hopefully on the other side, this thing will work out. Please don't put your financial well-being on hope. Because it'd be a borderline miracle. Seriously. That's how difficult the situation truly is. You got some big IRAs, call us and take a chunk of that and get it into some gold and silver. You got money sitting in the bank, what are you doing? You think inflation was bad now. Wait a few months. 800-951-0592. Okay, so what happened? Double. What happened? What happened? Well, Carney gave his speech. Canada's going to win. In Ontario, they produce a lot of power for the United States. They supply power, I think, to 3 states. And again, because you got to remember, up near that border area, right? There's not tons of people necessarily, up in like the Montana area, this, that, the other, kind of a little bit remote, and just made sense. Simple. Well, they decided a 25% tariff on electricity coming to the United States. On top of Carney's comments about Canada's going to win, Donald Trump today instructed the Secretary of the Commerce to add an additional 25%, now going to 50%, on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, calling Canada one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. Guess what? That goes into effect tomorrow. Well, that's a problem. That is a problem, but it got worse. Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff 250 to 390% on various dairy products, right? So they tariff the hell out of our dairy industry. I will shortly declare a national emergency on electricity in the threatened area. I don't know what that means. I don't know how you get extra power to, kind of, unfortunately with power, you kind of got it already set up, right? This is where we're going to get this power from. It's kind of hard to get it from somewhere else. So maybe some more spending here, some type of a rebate. I don't know. If other egregious long-time tariffs are not dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase on April 2nd the tariffs on cars coming into the United States. Now remember, that's going to be 25%. What is it? What is it going to go to 50? Listen, though, it gets worse. I will permanently shut down the auto manufacturing business in Canada. These cars can easily be made in the United States. Donald Trump's not wrong. We can absolutely make the cars here. It's just going to cost more. That's the other part of the sentence. Can we do it? Sure. Can we do it like in a week? No. But, that part's irrelevant. Then he talked about Canada relying on the U.S. for national security. Talking about we subsidize Canada. And you know how you do. You can do math a lot of ways. $200 billion a year. The only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. So, Trump, in an appeal to the Canadians, Your taxes will be significantly reduced. You'll be more secure militarily and gain more power in the world stage. So, Jason, this has got the markets on edge this morning.
51st state came up again, huh? So there it is. I mean, the new world order, as Bush Sr. talked about, it just takes a little longer to get there, I guess. We're gonna, with all these tariffs, it really is it could really rebalance what it costs for labor across the whole world. It'll cost the same in China to produce anything as it would here, and what'll happen is everybody across the planet will be paying more. That's what it leads to. We can balance the whole world system, Joe. We can tariff everybody back and forth until everything costs about the same to go left or right, and then the only people that really lose in that situation is the end buyer, which is us. So this is looks very, very inflated. This looks very expensive. What you're talking about, Joe?
Yeah, this is. I don't know necessarily how to take it. Believe it or not, like Stellantis shares are down. I'll have to look. Let me just see. Let's just see where GM is. Yeah, they're down. How about Ford? Let me see if I can get to Ford. Yeah, they're all down. So all the big three are down on this news, right? You'd think, hey, this would be great, but the people making the cars in Canada are Ford, Chrysler, right? Stellantis, I guess now, and General Motors, right? They're the ones that are building the cars there, and it was simple. Why would you build them in Canada instead of the United States, right? That's a simple question. What do you think the answer was? Well, gosh, I'm the CEO of GM, and I've decided what? I'm going to build cars in Canada because they cost more to build there? No, right? Of course not. No, why did you build them there? Well, because it's cheaper. And, of course, does anyone think cars are cheap right now? Not a chance. And then, I guess, where is all this steel and aluminum from Canada that's coming in here? So whoever's buying the steel from Canada right now, you got to pay 50% more starting tomorrow? Yeah, Jason, I don't know. This one is, it's interesting. The whole tariff thing has been interesting to watch. I've been telling everybody, I've been telling you this. They're not going away. The plan is we need to figure out how to grow. Well, how can we grow? Well, number one, we got to spend a lot more money. I can't just go spend more money because we already have problems with the debt. So where can I get money? Tariffs. They want to get $1 trillion a year in tariffs. Is that going to be enough to get things built here? I don't know. I think 50% on cars from Canada, I think that would be enough. Now, the problem is, do you build them here? Or do you go, I don't know, we're going to build them in Panama? I don't know, right? I mean, pick a country that doesn't get tariffed. But again, Jason, I think this is something where everybody better get used to two things. Things are going to cost more. And before we go on the flip side, right? Because they're telling us, hey, at the end of this, it'll be great, right? America will come out of this better on the other side. I don't know that. None of us know that. That's going to be that's the big gamble. And right now, I really, truly believe the worse Wall Street gets, I think the better for Trump, because when it comes to September, Jason, I think he'll get Congress to let him spend whatever he wants.
Wow. Yeah. It just smells of higher prices. Everything you say, Joe, just sounds like, how much is it going to cost for this, and how much is it going to cost for that? And you talked about $1 trillion in tariffs. Is that enough to get things built or built here? Yeah, you can get. You said it earlier. Yeah, we can get stuff built wherever. It's just cost. It's about cost, right? And let's see what happens economically worldwide when these things start to go down. Because what you're talking about today, what you came in with, is Canada. When you have this stuff happening across borders and across oceans, it's Trudeau, before he left office in Canada, he said it's a trade war. This is economic warfare. Trump has said it out loud. He's like, I'd rather have a war where we fight with currency instead of fighting with bombs and tanks.
Right.
And so this is his way of, I guess, hey, I don't have to kill Canadians. I just have to take what they got and give it to me. Right. This is what and a lot of Americans are like, yeah, all right, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, nah, well, you want a world system, then that world system better give me cheap bread. But that's not what this is. This is the world system making bread go 3x cost. That's not good. Economic. If you're gonna have a world system, then that world system better benefit us, and that's what we're looking at. This is world system not benefiting us.
Well, remember, how did they get to this thing? Well, they created, NAFTA and GATT and all that other stuff, so we could at least have cheap goods. Yeah. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason. And if you're just joining us, the Trump administration, a major shakeup today as Canada imposed Ontario, which sells power to the United States, hit us with a 25% tariff. And then the new Prime Minister Carney of Canada, in his speech yesterday, saying Canada was going to win the trade war. Donald Trump now 50% starting tomorrow on all steel and aluminum. Also on April 2nd, looks like 50% on cars. Coming from Canada, saying that he will essentially destroy the Canadian auto market and once again try to make his play for Canada becoming the 51st state that has a Wall Street on edge again. And really, here's the problem. Everyone's been worried about this recession, right? Wall Street's been selling off. And then today, whether it was Dick's or Kohl's or Oracle, Delta, Southwest Airlines, right? The who's who. We already, think about it, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, they've all warned. Hey, things are getting worse. And, of course, people are saying, Jason, hey, there's been lack of clarity in this tariffs, right? And businesses are saying, hey, we want clarity. We need, like today, it's very hard for you to be able, okay, you did 25% on steel and aluminum, and then in 24 hours you do another 25%, and literally say it starts tomorrow. Right? That's hard for, maybe not the average business owner, but the people, hey, I buy a lot of steel and aluminum. That's a problem. And Donald Trump saying, hey, businesses, that's what you guys always say. The tariffs are going to go up as time goes by. And I don't know what the predictability is going to be when it comes to tariffs. He was talking to Maria Bartiromo. It was so funny. You know what she said was, Well, that's not clarity, right? Right. And I think what Donald Trump is saying is, hey, guys, I don't know if you read my plan. We're going to tariff everybody. And we're going to collect a ton of money so we can get tax cuts. Jason, it's got to be enough, and it has to be long enough for companies to decide to come back to the United States. And it's got to be everywhere, right? Because, okay, if you tariff Canada, let's go to Mexico. If Mexico is still 25%, we can still make more money there. Okay, well, we'll go to Panama. We'll go right wherever. If you need to come here, and again, this is a big centerpiece of their budget. Right now, it looks like the continuing resolution is going to go through the House 217 to 215, which means now it will go to the Senate. If it gets through the Senate, I don't see anything on the debt ceiling in it, but I don't have it all, I don't see all 99 pages. But, Jason, they're going to spend this way through the end of the fiscal year. It'll be the first time ever, that, as far as I know, that we've had no budget.
Wow. Yeah. It's very interesting setup here. And the one thing that's not talked about is I'm listening to you talk because, this is tariffs, and people are hearing this all over. What about the countries that have been sanctioned? How does this work with them? Because they're already, in effect, tariffed, so to speak, right? Let's take Venezuela. They got a lot of stuff that they sell. Their tariffs are their sanctions. So they've already been working inside of a system like this. Is this a way that is Trump trying to bring everyone down to hey, I'm not going to sanction these other countries to make better deals for America, but we're going to tariff everything into where everybody ends up. This sounds like doing business with Venezuela, Joe. Where Venezuela has to. Who knows how little they get for their lumber or their oil, because they have to go out as a sanctioned nation and do backroom deals, so to speak. Right? This almost has the feel like, well, we get good deals from Venezuela because we've ostracized them outside because they don't want to join up. They don't want a central bank linking up with us. So. But man, when we get stuff from them, it's real cheap. We've heard Donald Trump say, it's like we're buying oil from Venezuela. Well, I'll bet when Biden bought oil from Venezuela, I'll bet it was really cheap.
Really cheap, yeah.
So why do I get the feeling Donald Trump or anybody else is like, well, if we can get oil that cheap from Venezuela, well, we should be able to get stuff cheap from Canada. Turn everybody into Venezuela. And now if everyone's is dealing with Venezuela, now you don't have to go invade them and take their stuff. Everyone's just doing business really expensively, and the citizens, of course, of all these nations are the ones that are going to bear the weight. We're not talking about the non-sanctioned countries, Joe, or the countries that are sanctioned. We're only talking about, oh my gosh, we're ruining our relationship with Canada. Well, we used to have a good relationship with Venezuela. And then things changed, right?
Listen, we got rid of all of this stuff so we could have cheap stuff. Remember how, oh my gosh, if we could just get 2% inflation, we just can't get there, right, with the way they track inflation. Remember that? For years they said that.
Yes.
Right? Part of this was deflationary. Now they want to bring it all back. It's just a natural thing. Now, we got more breaking news. Listen, right now, gold's up $29. $29.18. Silver's up 60 cents, 32.70. The Dow has been bouncing around, but basically down about 400 points. Ontario, I'm going to say governor, because I don't know what term they use in Canada, but his name is Doug Ford. Kind of ironic. His last name is Ford, right? He is in the province where they sell the oil to the United States. He now says that we're going to call this the Trump recession, and said that he is now threatening to shut off electricity exports to the United States if Donald Trump continues this trade war. Uh-oh. Wow. I know. Remember we said last year was the year of chaos? That was wrong. That was wrong. This is the chaos. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. Very chaotic here. I think Donald Trump's right. Don't watch Wall Street. Just don't watch it. It's going to be difficult to get clarity here. We're trying to avoid a government shutdown. It looks like we're going to get through the House barely. This will be a continuing 6-month resolution. This will take us to the end of the fiscal year. It's now going to go to the Senate. It's going to be very close there as well. But I'm just kind of looking. Canada, the largest provider, and it's really not close, of steel and aluminum to the United States. Brazil, a distant second. Then Mexico is the next biggest one. So it's going to be interesting as we watch this trade war heating up. Ontario governor, for lack of a better term, Doug Ford, saying that this is going to be called the Trump recession. And now he's threatening to shut off electricity completely to the United States. And then across the pond, this may be worse. The ECB, so the European Central Bank, its governing council, saying that they may just seize the $200 billion in Russian assets to help Ukraine, now calling this a viable option. Jason, it was one thing when they were going to say, hey, we're going to take the interest that they're earning and use it. Now the ECB is saying, hey, we're just going to flat out take another country's money. This is something where I think this would be an absolute disaster. You think gold's high now. If you start having, countries deciding unilaterally, well, we just don't like what you're doing, we're going to take your money. I don't even know what to say to this. I truly don't.
It's like we keep hitting the same subject. Oh, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We keep hitting the same subject. It's all about where the money's going, which way, who's going to be in control of it. And Joe, I've said many times recently that it seems to me that we're looking at, as we're talking recession now again, a recession is not enough currency for the inflated situation you're in. So I really see that this trade war, this tariff thing, is going to be forcing other nations to rely more heavily on dollars and forcing that to be more important of a currency than it's been the last few years. And then if there's not enough of it, right, Joe, what happened? One of the things about the colonies before we became America, right? We fought the war for the Revolutionary War, the war for independence. It really wasn't the taxation without representation. There was no currency. To get the colonists to fall into line, they choked off the currency, and then so the British would come in and they'd say, "Okay, farmer, where's your taxes?" Well, I don't have any money. It's like, well, we'll take half your field. Doesn't that kind of sound like what Trump is doing to Canada? You know what? It's time for you to pay your fair share. Well, that's what King George said to the colonies, and then they didn't give him any currency to use. The colonies started making colonial script, was a great idea, and it was working. However, when the British brought over all the counterfeit script and flooded the market with too much of it, they destroyed its value, and it was right back to the British saying, okay, well, now pay us. And a lot of people couldn't pay. In this instant, a lot of countries can't pay. So yeah, the trade going from country to country, I think this is not going to end, Joe. As you said earlier, the only way that this works is if takes place over a long period of time. Or, I guess, if other countries capitulate, right? If they just give in. So this is it's a poker game, and the currency is going to be the dollar.
And like I said, the giving in doesn't work because this is how they're justifying all the money they're going to be spending. Because because they're collecting all of this money in tariffs, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. 800-951-0592, U.S. $20 gold pieces, $3,050 today, as gold is now at $29.20. The Wall Street reacting very negatively to the ratcheting up of the trade war today, right? We've been watching Wall Street fall here for the last several weeks. Obviously, yesterday, a very big down day. And then the problem today was I really thought Wall Street maybe could get a rally going. But all these companies came out and said, things are slowing down. We're not going to make it. All of their lowering Wall Street expectations for 2025. And then this trade war thing just kind of blew up, right? Kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I don't know. I'm hoping that Doug Ford doesn't shut the power off. I mean, can you imagine? What do you think Trump's going to do if they shut the power off? I don't think that's going to go over very well.
I mean, is that even legal? I mean, because
I don't know. I don't know.
Public utilities have a responsibility. Can you just throw the switch? I mean, I'm not even sure that
But you know what, though? It's Canada, right? They're not the 51st state yet.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, right?
800-951-0592. I know. Get the popcorn out, right? Get ready. Wow. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour on this Tuesday. If you're just joining us, $20 gold pieces, $3,050 as the trade war with Canada has gone into warp speed. You know what? I'll say this, Jason. I'm all of a sudden not worried about the price of eggs anymore. So maybe that's a good thing, right? I forgot all about eggs as the United States and Canada have not. It's one thing to ratchet up the rhetoric, but they're ratcheting up the action. Canada imposed a 25% tariff to the electricity that they supply to the United States. Donald Trump responded with a now 50% steel and aluminum tariff starting tomorrow. And oh, by the way, on April 2nd, Donald Trump says he's going to put the Canadian automakers out of business, which a lot of people are taking to be a 50% tariff possibly coming for the Canadian auto industry. And just, Jason, uncertainty on top of the news here in the U.S. really almost now uniformly coming out that things are definitely slowing down.
I've been watching that the last year and a half. Things have been slowing down, Joe. It just seems like the consumer's tapped out completely, and we've run the numbers month after month after month. You know, credit levels at all-time highs. People are borrowed out to the hilt. People are stopping paying car payments, stopping paying the credit card payments. You know, pretty soon it's going to be foreclosures, and banks having to grab that property back and then resell it, and that's usually when the property prices show a little weakness, and that's also when the market really starts to collapse.
Yeah, and let's not forget these banks. they're not in great shape, right? They've very, quietly, if you don't listen to this show, they've taken a lot of the so-called safety net that they put in place with the last financial crisis with Dodd-Frank and just decided, well, you know what, things aren't looking, we're going to ignore those. And so these banks are allowed to carry these losses on their books that they were never used to allowed to do. And Jason, if there really is a recession here, which it feels like it does feel like this, what is that going to do to some of these weaker banks? Remember last week the FDIC said, hey, we're going to still tell you how many problem banks there are, but we're not going to tell you the assets anymore. We're not going to tell you because that would give away that some big banks may be in trouble. We're not going to tell you.
One of the banks not in trouble. They're all dependent upon the central banks for everything that happens. They're always in trouble. They're servants. They're slaves to a bigger master. What we need to look at is what we were starting to experience in 2023 is one of these smaller banks are going to collapse. How about the medium banks? Watch a few of those fall. Then watch what these large banks are going to be worried about. You get a couple of those little medium banks, those regional banks, Joe, going under again. And then what was probably supposed to happen in 2023 happens in 2025.
800-951-0592. Put the gold away. Well, there's still gold to be put away. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming right back.